Okay, yeah, sorry, I had to stop my last video kind of in mid-sentence. My best friend called me and I had to decline the call, and the video stopped, and then when I started it back up, it was like a new video, so it was just really weird. But anyway, I'm just gonna, I guess, have multiple video posts. Oh well, people do it all the time on YouTube. Um, let's see, I guess I'll get to the next question, because I don't remember what I was talking about. I have a bad memory, so I'll go to the fourth question. Um, how Lewis and the professor made a list of the strengths of the 5 committee members. It says list the strengths of everyone in your supervisory model and share how each other's strengths work out during a time of transition. Um, okay, no offense, but I think this question was kind of like copy pasted, but then like the last line about during a time of transition, I feel like that little phrase was added on, um, just to apply to us. So I guess my supervisory model, I'm just going to use all the other CDAs, because there's 6 of us total, and I'm not going to talk about myself because that's really conceited, so I guess I'll go with everybody else. I'll start with David. I love David. He is so precious and everything. And the thing about David, David's quiet. Like, I mean, I know he talks a lot, of course, to his friends and whatnot, and, to us, too, like, when he warms up. But naturally, David's a quiet person, like, kind of reserved. Like, he's not completely an introvert, but he's closer to the introvert side than the extrovert side. But he's, like, the quiet, observant person on the team. But when he speaks, it's like, ah. And it's just like, why didn't I think of that? It's like light bulb moment for myself when he speaks. It's just like this ray of insight. Basically, he has good insight, I think. And I think it comes from him, being observant and whatnot, not quick to say something. I think he processes a lot. I can tell, and so therefore when he speaks, he's very logical and rational, and his ideas are real well thought out. Then you have Caroline and Rebecca. I'm not lumping them together, but they're close to almost being similar in the instance that they both are like Alice. They're like go-getters. Like they're like, especially like Rebecca. Like it's just kind of like, you come to her about something and you show her what's wrong, and she's like, yeah, that is wrong. Like we gotta do something about this. Like, oh my gosh. Like let me go to the GCD, or let me go to RAB, or whoever, RAS, or RAB, whatever. And they're like, Caroline and Rebecca kind of like the go-getter, like Alice type people that I would say, necessarily. So if you want your issue heard, you tell them your reasoning and it's like logical, it's nothing like, crazy, then I think they actually go get something done. Then there's Patrick, who is kind of similar to me in a way. Patrick gives his opinions, he makes snide remarks and whatnot, but he gets things done. But he gets things done by the time the deadline is. He doesn't procrastinate. He's more of like a long kind of worker. Like, yeah, we're gonna get this done. I'm not gonna rush necessarily. It's gonna get done. Everything's gonna work out. But Patrick's more like a realist too, about things, which I appreciate. And at the same time, besides moving on, I guess, from Patrick, Hunter is more of the big time organizer kind of person. Hunter is like, his strength is more of like I'm going to set up a structure to this, whatever change needs to be made or whatever it is. I'm going to set up a structure. This is what we're going to do step by step, and within these steps, this is how we're going to accomplish each step. And if there shall be a flaw, a mishap, I'm going to plan for this mishap, and this is what the mishap will probably be, and this is how we're going to overcome the mishap, and this is how we're going to accomplish this overall goal. Like, Hunter's very like, boom, 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 boom. If A and B doesn't work to make C, we're going to somehow figure out how D plus E works out, but I'm going to plan how D plus E works out. As someone like myself or like a Patrick, it's going to be like, crap, if A plus B doesn't work out, I might have a D plus E plan, but I'll just kind of have to figure it out in the process real quick and not panic that much. Which I think some of the other, I think Caroline actually is kind of like that too, and or I think most of us are kind of, I guess, flexible, really. But I think all of us I don't think any of us are procrastinators. I think all of us, we try to accomplish a task at like a steady pace, more so. And our forms of procrastination, or I think what we call ourselves procrastinating, you know, I don't think it's really procrastination. I think what we call procrastination to the average person is actually like, no, you're ahead of schedule. But for us personally, I think because we have such high expectations and we're hard on ourselves, I don't think we actually procrastinate that much, even whenever we think we are procrastinating. I think it's just we just are just hard on ourselves and have high expectations. But I think during times of transition, I guess to tie everything back in with our strengths, I think all of us are kind of the same as far as, yes, while we may complain and whatnot, you know, throughout the year, maybe in a position or something, I think for other people who are coming into our positions, I think we keep it real. I think we keep it real and we sugarcoat a little bit because, you know, you still want someone to get excited and whatnot, and I think we know that. I think we know how to tactfully complain but then give praise at the same time. Well, constructively criticize, then give praise at the same time. And I think it's just comes with the territory, comes with the job when you're moving up. You can't always be the negative Nancy or whoever the whole time. You have to be able to, okay, fine, maybe gripe a little bit, but then come back and shed some positive light on a situation. That's very important during transition times because no one wants to go into a situation and just have all these negative thoughts. You have to bring out the positive too of making the transition, or else people will be discouraged. You don't want people discouraged coming in August when you're making transitions for real. But I guess that kind of sums up that question. That's all I really have. The next question. In managing transitions, you need to explain the purpose of change and give everyone a picture, a plan, and give everyone a part to play. How will these stages help in the transitioning of the new class of CDAs for next year? This is an interesting question. I'm not really sure how to answer this. I think change requires somebody to have an open mind, but to be realistic. I'm very big on being real and rational. I don't think you should have these far-fetched ideas, and I think a lot of people do sometimes when it comes to change. Cause I think some people think change, you think of like this large-scale change. I don't think change necessarily has to be on a larger scale. Like, there's always small changes that make huge impacts. And whether a person, I think, is moving into a new community that they've never lived in before, or if the person is just remaining in their same community, change is inevitable. Like, your resident assistant is what you do, you know. Even if you're staying in the same community, like, let's say if I were saying I was in Manning last year, but if I stayed in Manning for this year, I can't expect to have the same type of residents that I had last year for this year. You can't do that. There's a new set of people every year. When you're dealing with new people, there's going to be change. When you're dealing with, it's just new. It's just new. And of course, when you change communities, whether you're going from upperclassmen to FYE, whether you're going from SYE to FYE, or vice versa, it's just always, it's going to be change. Especially just dealing in the world of housing, there's always going to be change. You're always going to have to be flexible and adaptable. Just kind of, it may be frustrating at times that you have to go roll with the punches, figure out what works for you, and you have to be able to have enough logic and kind of common sense to be able to say, okay, this is the change that they're making in this policy, but you need to figure out how to gear it towards what works best for your community, what works best for your residence hall, what works best for your staff as a CDA. Yeah, that's kind of about it. As far as making give everyone a picture or a plan, I'm not really sure how to do that. I guess I'm supposed to come up with a scenario. I guess I can talk about, I don't really have a scenario, but I guess I can say how change is different from, I guess, me becoming from RA, from Manning into Clemson House, being a CDA. It's different because, one, yes, while I might have moved from FYE to another FYE community, I moved from a single-gender FYE community where I had, 22 female residents, and most of the problems were, like boy issues, whatnot, and most of the stuff in the building, more so, building-wide, really, were more like alcohol-type related incidents that I would have to deal with. As I come here to Clemson House, I have I have a co-ed floor, I have 78 residents, and most of the building-wide issues this year in this community are roommate conflicts. And I will say in the past, I've literally only had one, before Clemson House, I've literally only had one roommate conflict. And now I feel like I've dealt with it, like, plenty of them. And of course, I don't, the first few I had, I solved them. But, of course, you're a little hesitant because, like, man, I don't really have experience in this. This is like a whole new change for me, like a whole new ball game, and I don't know how to deal with it. But you do. It's more so of taking time to breathe and think back to training and what you learned from rally. Rally's actually beneficial sometimes, and then from there it kind of bases off experience. Like the more roommate conflicts you have, the more alcohol incidents that you have, you learn how to deal with them. Each one, of course, is different, but in essence, they're all the same. The same. You go about solving them and finding a solution within the same manner, per se. So I don't really have anything else. I don't really know what kind of picture or thing I'm supposed to draw out here. I guess the last thing says recall the 8 steps towards a successful change and relay to a IRL example. I don't know what an IRL is. Like I saw it in parentheses before a couple questions ago, but the letters didn't correspond. So I don't really know what IRL stands for. So yeah. But the 8 steps, I did read that part in the book at the end. And I think that 8-step process actually makes sense. It was clearly spelled out in the book. I think it's, yes, you do need to, create a sense of urgency and, communicate your ideas, develop a change in vision, call together a team, produce short-term results, empower others to act as well. And I think it's good to create a culture and don't let the change be too permanent. I don't think you should, because I think each time you make a change be so permanent, I think each time someone comes up and says it and recognizes that there needs to be another change, then the harder it is and the less likely, again, that people are going to be apt to change. So I think it's good to keep people kind of on their toes, not necessarily on their toes, but be open to keep the idea of being flexible and adaptable in people's minds, if all possible. Sometimes you can't control that, but if you can, try to. So yeah, that's about it with this. So I'm not really sure what else I'm supposed to be talking about here, so I'm just going to end this video because I'm kind of rambling. I kind of have been for most of these videos, or this video with these questions. This is really weird. I hope we don't really do this that much again. And I hope we're the only people who see this video, because this is really awkward, and I feel like I'm going to, if I post this to the general YouTube community, I'm going to get 10,000 dislikes and maybe 2 likes off of this. So yeah, I hope we take this video down off YouTube soon. So after you watch these, because this is really embarrassing and weird, and I'm just going to end this video now. So see ya. Have a great night. I have a ceremony to get to. Bye.